Michigan State Police releasing new information about the shooting at Michigan State University.
And we're learning more about what happened, as well as new details about the gunman. Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack live in East Lansing with more. Jessica, good afternoon to you. What can you tell us?
Good afternoon, and I want to start with probably the first bit of good news that I've shared all week since we've been covering the tragedy at MSU. We're outside of Sparrow Hospital right now in Lansing, where the 5 shooting victims, the 5 students, were taken after that shooting on Monday night. I am glad to report that one of those victims, one of the 5, has been upgraded from critical condition to stable. So that is a great sign of improvement. Again, some of the good news to come out of our coverage today, but not to minimize the other 4 students that are still at Sparrow Hospital behind me. They remain in critical condition. Now, earlier today, we were part of an hour-long press conference, which is extremely long, with all the investigators that are a part of this investigation and all the different facets. And what we did learn for the first time, we talked about motive in this case, and that's something that everybody has been wanting to know more about. That shooter, 43-year-old Anthony McCray, we learned that he was described by his father as a loner, somebody that didn't really leave his room, and we'll hear more from the investigator in just a second on that. But also, I want to talk about the guns that were used in this shooting. The shooter was found with 2 guns that were legally purchased, 2 pistols. They were on his person when he was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He also had a backpack full of magazines, some 8 magazines of ammunition, then another 50 rounds of ammunition. So it's very clear that he wanted to inflict maximum damage with this shooting. Also, there was a note found on him that made threats to all kinds of other buildings, facilities, locations, including a church, including a warehouse that he had previously worked at. And that is part of what Michigan State Police are saying could be motive here. He apparently felt slighted at his prior workplace, and that could play into this whole situation of why he chose to carry out this attack. Now, Michigan State Police Lieutenant Renee Gonzalez lays out a little bit of what the shooter's father said in a subsequent interview after the shooting. Let's take a listen.
Our interviews with the shooter's father, we brought that up to him, and he had mentioned that his son does not have any friends. He pretty much sat in his room most of the time. He ate, went to the bathroom in there. So he pretty much never left his room, and his father didn't believe that he had any friends, let alone 20 of them that would help him put this out. So we kind of determined that he was the lone shooter in this.
Yeah, apparently he had said in that note that he was part of a group of 20 killers that were ready to take out other attacks. Investigators quickly dismantled that and deemed that not a threat. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the guns that I mentioned that were purchased legally but not registered. Now, apparently the shooter did have limited contact with police prior to this, except for in 2019. He was actually stopped here in Lansing with a gun on him. He did not have a permit to carry that weapon. He was charged with a felony, but very interesting, the Ingham County prosecutor at the time allowed a plea deal, which pled that down to a misdemeanor, which is why he was able to again purchase those guns legally. So this is all new information that we're learning today. We will continue to follow this story throughout the day. For now, live in Lansing, Jessica Dupnack, Fox 2 News.
As usual, excellent reporting, Jessica. Thank you. Also in the news, we're learning more about the surviving victims of the shooting. One of them is a Florida resident, Guadalupe, and she is a junior who is majoring in the hospitality business. 2 others are being identified by the Chinese government as Chinese citizens who are now said to be, quote, out of life-threatening danger. A 4th victim is only being referred to as a 2020 graduate of Heartland High School, and the 5th person is yet to be identified.
Now, shock and sadness continues to be felt across the Michigan State University community as people process the events that happened on Monday night. Now, last night, a huge crowd of students, staff, alumni, they all came together for a vigil. Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer, an MSU graduate herself, helping to lead the school through one of its darkest hours.
We mourn Ariel, and Al, as she was known to her loved ones, and Brian, who were taken from us far too soon. We think about their families, recalling their last visit home. We hurt for their friends who are remembering their last conversation or maybe rereading text messages. And we are hoping for those who are fighting for their lives in the hospital.
Also getting up to speak, the man who's arguably become the face of Michigan State University in recent decades, because of his tenure really, basketball coach Tom Izzo, who's the father of one Spartan grad and has another child at the school right now.
I can't begin to imagine what all of you are going through. But I do know that we, as a campus community, can offer our support both to you and to each other. Look around. Look next to you. Shake somebody's hand. Introduce yourself to someone you don't know. That's what we are, and that's what we need to be at this time.
Yeah, he really had some heartfelt words at that podium, Tom Izzo. Now today, the campus of Michigan State University will remain closed with no classes, athletics, or other events. An exact timetable for the return is still being mapped out.
There are several more vigils that are planned for tonight for the victims of the MSU shooting.
Wayne State University holding an event at the flagpoles on Gillen Mall. Now it starts at 5 in Clawson, another vigil. That's tonight on the football field to honor Alexandria Verner. She was 20 years old. She's a graduate of Clawson High. Now on the west side of the state, students at Grand Valley State University holding a vigil tonight at 7. And for all of these vigils that are going to be outside, what is the weather going to look like for them across the state of Michigan?
It looks like it is going to be a bit wintry, so you do want to bundle up, dress appropriately for that, because we have this cold air that has come in, and a bit of rain, a bit of sleet, already a bit of snow out there. We're going to see more of it later tonight, so if anybody is planning to attend that, just make sure you've got the winter gear with you.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.